Hi, I'm Louise from Opal People Solutions, and today we're going to discuss contracts of employment. I have with me here Michelle, who is a local business owner who wants to find out more about contracts of employment.
Thank you so much for having me, Louise. I've got my big list of questions ready for you, so hopefully I'm not going to be here too long. But just, I suppose, a really fundamental question as a business owner, if you're experiencing growth or you've just taken on some staff, how important are contracts of employment and what are the key elements that really do need to be included?
Okay, firstly, Michelle, it's a legal requirement. It's a legislative requirement under the Employment Rights Northern Ireland Order 1996, so that's a bit legalistic. So that there is a requirement that you provide your employees with a contract of employment within 8 weeks of employment. Obviously, there are regional variations between GB and ROI, but the fact remains it is a legal requirement to provide the contract of employment. So essentially, the contract of employment sets out your obligations and responsibilities as an employer, and it sets out my rights as an employee. It's the fundamental reference point in any query that comes up during the employment relationship. And certainly when I'm advising clients and they ask me, can they do X, Y, and Z, I'll always bring it back to the contract and say, what does the contract say?
No, that's really comprehensive. And in terms of, I suppose, that contract, what are the key elements that do need to be included? Is there set parameters that need to be mentioned in there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it varies from employment and clients and their requirements. Some organisations are very prescriptive and they require a number of additional terms, but there are a set number of basic terms that should be included within a contract of employment. So things like the employer's name and address, the employee's name and address, the job title that the employee is going to hold, their date of commencement, where are they going to work, what are you going to pay them, what benefits are you going to offer. So for example, how many holidays are they going to get, what is their pension entitlement, are they entitled to company sick pay. Then there are a number of policies within the contract that need to be referenced, albeit you would produce the whole policy within another document, but in the contract of employment you must at least reference so a disciplinary procedure, health and safety procedure, grievance procedure, those sorts of things.
And once the contract has obviously been set up, do you have to update it regularly or revisit it?
It's probably two times, Michelle, that you should review the contract of employment. Um, if an employee has changed job or some term within their contract fundamentally has changed, it would be useful to review. You have to bear in mind, obviously, that you can't just unilaterally change terms and conditions. So you need to consult. Obviously, if you're enhancing terms and conditions, there's generally speaking no need to consult in that. But if you do want to make fundamental changes to the terms and conditions, you must consult and allow a period for those negotiations to take place. Um, One time when that is not a requirement is if there's legislative change, because that overrides any employee's rights under the contract of employment.
Opal People Solutions, full HR consultancy, how can you help employers to set up these contracts?
It's probably the key service that we provide, and it's usually the first point of contact with a new client. So, depending on the size and how long established that client is, if it's a new start, very much it's a blank piece of paper, and we work with the client to understand if there are budgetary constraints, for example. In that case, the client probably wants a legal minimum contract, and we will certainly advise on that and draft those contracts. Other clients, more established clients, may want us to review terms and conditions that they have already set up, or they might want us just to provide a new set of terms and conditions, depending again on their requirements. They might want that their objective is that they really want to engage with their staff. So they may want enhancement to terms and conditions. And we very much can gauge whether particular terms would be attractive to employee and would help with labour turnover, for example, or retention of staff.